welcome ladies and gentlemen to episode 10 of the Indo-Pacific series, Aerospace, Defence and Security Technology Market Trends, Opportunities between India, Australia and the ASEAN region. My name is Chris Cubbage. I'm the Executive Editor and Director for My Security Media, and we hold this series with our partners, the Aerospace and Defence Consultants Association of India, and my co-host Raman Sapori in Delhi. Raman, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Chris.
Very good. Episode 10. This was a 10 episode series, so we've gone back to back, and very good to have us. And we've got guests here from Hong Kong, Singapore, and Dr. Vasudeva again, who joined us at the first episode. They're also in Delhi. Let me just do some introductions. Domain focus is and will remain on aerospace and space, defence and national security, cybersecurity and critical technology, and cities and infrastructure. These sessions are recorded. They're also live on YouTube. And if you have any questions from the audience, we have over, I think we've hit 220 registrations week to week for this particular series, as well as the YouTube audience of over 2,000. So it has been well received. Our episode this week is AI, artificial intelligence driving touchless biometrics and social distancing surveillance. We're going to be joined by Chris Bishop in Singapore, their Director APAC Sales and Marketing for Ipsotek, and he's going to be discussing how AI-based video analytics solutions aid with social distancing. Chris, thank you very much for joining us.
Hello, everybody.
Good on you, mate. And also Rocky Chow, APAC Head of Sales for Biometric Devices Business Line with Idemia, and he's going to be looking at discover the benefits of contactless biometrics. Rocky, thank you very much for joining us. Very good in Hong Kong there. So both of these gents will kick off. We're going to start with Chris, but as we do week to week, just going to run through the news. Last week's episode was very interesting. We touched with BlackBerry IoT Solutions on their ad hoc public safety edition with David Nicol, and we were also joined by Simon Lucy, Professor Lucy from the Australian Institute for Machine Learning there in Adelaide. We didn't get his video working, but a fascinating guy looking at the augmented reasoning and structured interfaces between humans and machines. So that is available. Just some news of the week and some clips. I kept it relatively short. This graph here came out of the Lowy Institute during the week, and it's just mentions of how Australian Prime Ministers, Foreign Ministers and Defence Ministers' speeches are mentioning a rules-based order, and you can see there Turnbull hit the peak and Morrison has kind of dropped it off. More of a sort of observation to note. And Australia-Singapore Military Training Initiative has kicked off with 2.2 billion under the initiative, and it's also Queensland businesses. There's going to be a lot of training between Singapore and Australia up in Queensland. So if you're a Queensland business and want to service the defence sector, there's now an online onboarding system that you can have a look at. I think we've got some details on the Australian Security magazine. The Quad is coming together. We've got Australia is now going to be joining the Malabar series of naval exercises. This is pretty big news. That's bringing India, the US, Japan, and Australia together. And I believe it's going to be at the end of November. And this follows on quite a lot of naval exercises in the region. Let's face it, this year in particular. So it's something worth having a look at. That's going to be run in the Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea. Joint statement came out yesterday. We've got the Defence Minister, Australia's Defence Minister, is on a tour of the Indo-Pacific. She kicked off her visit in Tokyo, and a joint statement from Japan and Australia Defence Ministers on their cooperation. There's a lot there. This is on the Asia-Pacific Security magazine. Ranging from obviously defence, naval exercises, but also space and cyber security. And just that's pretty much the news of the week. I kept it brief as this is a wrap up, and wanted to walk through the previous 10 episodes. And we're going to hear from Dr. Vasudeva there in India. Raman, I'll get you to introduce Dr. Vasudeva, but Dr. Vasudeva, what we've done over the 10 episodes, and including this particular episode where we're looking at biometrics and surveillance systems in response to COVID-19, social distancing. Previous week, as I mentioned, we looked at augmented reasoning and critical communications for cities. Previous episode to that, we've had 2 episodes on the space domain and also on robotics, autonomous systems, and a couple of episodes on cybersecurity as well. So you can see episodes 6 to 10 there, and episodes 5 to 1, we covered off on drones and anti-drone technology. Another one on space opportunities across the region. We looked at the Australian cybersecurity strategy. We also looked at COVID-19 and its impacts on India and Australia with the impacts of, COVID-19 and its challenges. And we kicked off looking at smart city strategy and public safety systems. So we've gone the full hort out of those 10 episodes, probably 2 episodes each for the domains that we look at. And it was something that we discussed with you at the start of what India is actually doing in the technology sphere and some of the key opportunities. So Raman, maybe over to you if you could introduce Dr. Vasudeva, and then we'll have some words from the doctor.
Good morning, friends. My privilege and honor to introduce Dr. S.K. Vasudeva, who is a distinguished scientist with impeccable record of innovation. And he's been leading a lot of projects from the front. And today he's sitting at the highest echelon of Indian decision-making process. So we are happy to have you here. And Dr. Vasudeva was the person who gladly agreed to be on the first show of Indo-Australia when he joined the inauguration. And today he has again been with us to attend to this thing also. Just for the sake of the audience and the panelists, Dr. Vasudeva is a distinguished fellow of Aerospace Defense Consultants Association of India. He is a scientist of national and international repute. With this, I hand over to Dr. Vasudeva to start his opening comments. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Raman, and thank you, Chris, for inviting me to the concluding session of your Indo-Pacific series. I attended one of the series was the drones and anti-drone technology. You see, the topics which were chosen in the various episodes are very relevant in the today's scenario. We are threatened by drones, and we have to look for the anti-drone technology. And on this, in India, we have also started working. We have not yet attained the perfection in various technologies in this direction. And we will like to certainly join hands with Australia and the Japan and the US for these things. And regarding the other topics like national cybersecurity. Now, in today's time, we are faced with a lot of problems with the cybersecurity. This is a challenge. Every day, and now our sites are tried to be hacked by these people from the different countries. You know, our enemies who are trying to destroy our the security infrastructure by the cyber attacks on our various sites of our home ministry, of our defense ministry side. So this is a big challenge for us. So we have to work strong in this direction. And the Smart City program, this is launched by our Prime Minister. We are working on the Smart City, and the technology for this, certainly we would like to join hands with the Australia and the other friendly countries so that we can implement the technologies in our Smart City program. Another program which is, not within the this series which was there, which has recently been started, is the waste to wealth management. You see, India has got a lot of waste which is not utilized for generating electricity or the generating the biogas and other things. And one of the problem which we are facing, Delhi gets the problem of the pollution because of the burning of this wheat, which is I mean the wheat residues which is there in the after you take out the wheat, and then they say it's a great problem. They are burning it, and which is causing a great pollution. So we have to attend to this problem. This is a very burning problem for India, and this is burned. This husk is burned there, and the whole Delhi gets the pollution. So pollution levels go very high. So pollution is also one of the field. I think Chris should take a note of this. This should also be included so that we can attack on the the civil sector also. Although we have attended to the aerospace, defense, and security technologies, but these technologies are also these are also wanted. So we should also look for the technologies which can be very useful for the civil. Of course, you have included the smart city strategy. So this can be also one of the topic which we can undertake in our forthcoming
we definitely
technology seminar. Yeah,
Dr. Vasudev, I intentionally kept it open in terms of cities and infrastructure. It allows us to cover all of that aspect as well. We look at human security, obviously. What I'd like to do is just move on to the next slide, because it's not only just a boring slide, but it does discuss where we're moving on to is we're going to continue with our sort of My Security TV, as we call it. We've covered the India's Reach series. We did a 10-episode Indo-Pacific series. We're going to just keep going with our sort of Tech and Sec weekly series, pretty much looking at aerospace, defence and security. The domains there at the bottom stay the same, and it just allows us to move around in terms of that technology sphere, because there's so much happening that there's no shortage of content week to week, and we haven't had issues of getting guests either. So it's been very good.
Okay.
We thank you for your guidance. I'm just conscious of time as well, Doctor. But
one point I want to make. You see, in the defense sector, in the aerospace sector, India is looking for the aerospace engine technology for the various aircrafts. This is one of the field for which we would like to have the technologies in India with the collaboration from other countries to produce our future engines for the future aircrafts of the order of the 10 kilonewtons. So the high-powered engine for our military aircraft. So this is one of the field for which we will like to join with the other countries to get the technologies. And we want to produce in a very short time these engines. This is one of the field which is very, very important for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vasudev. We'll reach out. We probably didn't cover a lot of aerospace. We covered space, but aerospace was one of those areas that, other than the drone technology in the drone space, aerospace itself, we did reach out to some of the bigger players, sort of like the Lockheeds and the like, and we'll touch base with them as well. I mentioned our new series. We'll maintain our relationship, obviously, with Raman and the Aerospace and Defence Consultants Association of India, and we also have we had James join us a couple of weeks ago from the International Security Industry Council of Japan. So we'll bring more in from Tokyo, and looking at a quad type series as well from time to time. So if I may, I'll keep going, and Dr. Vasudev, stay on as Rocky and Chris run their presentations, and you're very welcome to stay on as our panel member. Just working through some events that we've got coming up. We're running an interview. I'm going to do a book review and an interview with Australia's former ambassador to China, Jeff Raby, on the 12th of November. No, beg your pardon, the 12th of November. We are intentionally making that 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Standard Time. So that'll be 7 p.m. in Japan, 6 over in Perth and in Singapore, and 3:30 in India, just to allow a bit of a wider audience for that particular session. Interesting book, and obviously his insights into China and the Australian relationship is insightful and worth discussing. We're also bringing in a security consultant series. This will only be a three or four part series, but I've got some very senior physical security and building security consultants. And in fact, Chris and Rocky, I'm sure this might be of interest to you too. We're looking at high security buildings, installation standards, and also the balance between fire and security for buildings. And that's sponsored by AMS Australia, who have a very interesting new design lock as well. So that's going to start probably early November, just for a three-part series, but I've got probably 6 of Australia's senior physical security consultants and consultants for that episode or series. And just up from the marketplace, I've just finished and we've just released an interview with Abigail Bradshaw, Protect and Assist. She is the head of the Australian Cyber Security Centre, and that's within the Australian Signals Directorate as part of the Department of Defence. Very interesting interview. Goes for about 50 minutes, so I appreciate her time spent with us discussing the Australian Cyber Security Centre, the major cyber attacks against Australia, and her particular role and the team that she manages. So welcome to have a look at episode 225, and all of our episodes are available on My Security Marketplace. And closing this week on Friday, the Top Women in Security in Malaysia. Nominations close on the 23rd of October. Chris, I appreciate you're in Singapore. If you have any colleagues in Malaysia, if you don't mind doing me a favour and reaching out to them about this. And likewise, Rocky, if you've got any colleagues in Malaysia, please do. We're trying to reach around 40 nominations. We're well over halfway, but we just want to final push this week. So please, if you've got colleagues in Malaysia, please reach out to them. That's in partnership with ISACA and ACES International Chapters and Malaysian Women in Security and WISECRA. 3D Printing World coming around fast, 5th and 6th of December in across India. That's the 6th edition of 3D Printing World 2020. And some other upcoming events in Australia. We've got the Australian Intelligence Professionals Industry Association, AIPAO, I think I've got that wrong. The Australian Institute of Professional Intelligence Officers, that's what it is. Their roundtable series is on tomorrow. Privicon this week as well on Thursday. Great lineup, predominantly from Australia and Singapore for cybersecurity. And then next week, we've got Telecoms World Asia and APAC Fraud Summit also. A heap of other events on the marketplace. Featured courses this week, we've added the NIST Risk Management Framework online training. That's free training from the NIST organisation in the US, and Cybersecurity Audit Masterclass in January is worth having a look at, as well as ESET and ISACA related training courses and some other updated reports. The 2020 Intelligence Workplace Report is an interesting one in terms of how workplaces are being transformed. And again, Chris and Rocky in the subject of the day with COVID-19 might be of interest to you, and a bunch of other reports and white papers. So look, that's pretty much it. And I just realised as I've done that, I've missed a slide putting these two gents in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand over to Chris forthwith. Chris is APAC Sales, or Head of APAC Sales there. And Chris, I'm going to hand over to you. And my apologies, I've missed putting a new panel slide up for you from last week. So my apologies. So I'm going to hand over to Chris if you're ready to go.
Okay, yes, I'm ready.
Here it comes, and I'll have that slide fixed by the time you come back. Here it comes. Thank you, Chris.
Okay, can you see my...
Yes.
Yep, we can. Sounds all good.
You can see the presentation?
Yes, we can. Full screen.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chris, for inviting myself and Ipsotek to present at this this webinar. As the title suggests, combating public health and safety concerns in a COVID-19 world. With over 40 million cases confirmed and over 1 million people have died as a result of this virus, it really is, I think, an opportunity for technology and technologists to look at how solutions can be deployed for the benefit of others. And this presentation will take you through how Ipsotek has approached that. There's one slide on Ipsotek for those of you who have not come across us before. We're a privately held company based in the UK, our headquarters. The co-founder and CTO, Dr. Boris Bogassian, leads a team of 6 PhD researchers as part of our R&D team. We have a range of patents in our portfolio, and over 600 projects have been delivered in 38 countries. Some of those very large projects, many thousands of video analytic channels, but also in sectors such as aviation, we're very strong, with over 70 airport projects completed. Back to COVID-19, and I'm sure many of us remember the lockdowns, and for some countries who are now going back into lockdown. And we were approached by a number of governments and large organizations asking questions: what technologies do you have? What do you have that could benefit people and also their employers? And as you look down this list here that we've included, social distancing, people wearing PPE, in this case, people wearing a face mask in public places, how to automatically check people's health as people come in and out of buildings, shopping malls. Here in Singapore, where I live, you have to enter in one exit and then leave via a different exit, so there is no risk of cross-contamination. And as we went through this list, we realized that within our video analytics algorithms, we were able to adapt and create solutions that met the requirements of these COVID-19 use cases, including, importantly, forensic analysis, being able to deploy technology as part of contact tracing. So here are 6 images. And if we think about the first image, being able to identify a person without a mask. Yes, we can identify people with masks, different colors, red, blue, etc. But identifying the one person without the mask. And that becomes important not only for the safety of everybody around that person, but if that person is then proven later to have COVID-19, being able to use our forensic tools to be able to identify where that person has been becomes very important. Likewise, people coming in and out of exits. People going south to north are allowed in through this exit, but people coming the other way are not. And being able to automatically detect that becomes very important. Likewise, in the workplace, we recently completed a pilot project for a warehouse operator, where we were able to automatically calculate the distance between workers. Again, very important if a worker is determined to have had COVID-19. Likewise, we can detect people leaving through turnstiles where they're contactless. Important because if somebody tailgates, we need to know who that person is. What's also important is being able to count people. So in this video clip, you can see we're counting people as they come from work. We can also calculate their approximate speed. But we're also able to detect what they're carrying and ignore objects like umbrellas, handbags, briefcases. So we only count the people that we see in this picture. That becomes important because if you have a reduced occupancy size in a building, in a shopping mall, or in a place of employment, you need to know how many people have come through the turnstiles automatically. And lastly, we have proximity detection, which I will go into in greater detail on the next slide. Sorry, the slide after this. If we take those scenarios, then how can they be deployed? And this is a hypothetical example, but one which is quite real as countries start to open up after COVID-19 lockdown. Using our solutions of social distancing, being able to estimate how many people are in different locations, means that not only can we protect sites, say like a stadium, with our existing perimeter and intrusion detection capabilities, we're also able to look at the spacing between people with proximity detection. What's the density? Create a heat map. If this area had a lot of F&B, food and beverage outlets, are people queuing? Do we need to reduce the number of people coming into the stadium by automatically counting them? So all of the capabilities that we have relating to COVID-19 could be applied to somewhere like a stadium, an office building, or a transit location, say like a train station, where you have large numbers of people moving together. So social distancing is a word or phrase that we've all come to learn from the beginning of COVID-19. And in some countries, we're told to stay 2 meters apart. In other countries, maintain 1 meter apart. But how can you detect that? What we've created at Ipsotek is the ability to automatically, I'm just going to pause the video, automatically determine how far an object is apart from another object. And the important criteria here is this person, we have no idea who they are, what their name is. We're not using face recognition. We're not using their mobile phone signal. Using a geospatial algorithm that we have created, we're able to determine that these two objects are a certain distance apart. And if we set the parameters that people who are less than 2 meters have a red circle, and people that are more than 2 meters have a yellow circle, we're then able to capture data very accurately, and then combine that into, we would call it a detailed, and I have to show you in a moment. This type of detection does not mean that these people are illegal and are going to be arrested. It's really about raising awareness that a lot of people may be constantly in breach. And if this here was a McDonald's, maybe a McDonald's need to put yellow 1 meter markers to ensure spacing of people. So it's all about awareness as opposed to people being told, you've done this, you're now in trouble.
Can I just
As part
interrupt?
of this, we're then able to...
Sorry to interrupt. Is the analytics on the camera, is it, where's the analytics occurring, at the edge or back on the server? So
we have a server-based application. We are hardware agnostic. The software runs on the server, and we use a NVIDIA T4 GPU, which is performing the calculations and providing us with all of the data.
What type of delay is that? So how old is the footage being analysed like this? Is it real time?
It can be real time.
Right.
So depending on your network speed, we can analyze this real time.
Fair enough.
So now imagine these people at workhouse, and they're walking along and chatting to each other about the footy or the rugby or cricket, and when really they should be spacing 2 meters apart. If you then have an instance where a person becomes COVID-19 infected, you now know how many other people that person has been in close proximity to.
Mm. And just looking at this video, is this a actual footage, or is that augmented?
This is footage from the UK, from London.
Okay.
And so when you see these spikes of alerts and other criteria coming into the database, we have the ability within our system to send an email to a person of responsibility who may then take a necessary action if this was in a warehouse. Or it could be an audio message that is broadcast. Again, something that we've done during a POC within a warehouse to alert people to maintain social distancing. Coming to the distribution center, you can see how, so if you have lots of people working in a very busy environment, it's very easy for people to be less than 2 meters apart. And in this environment, this is where you can then create reports that are sent daily, hourly if you wanted to, where we're responding to these reductions in safe distancing, social distancing. And with a particular POC conducted in the UK, the end user saw a reduction in these violations of more than 70% through using this type of capability. And the way that was able to be achieved is we had 8 cameras, and we could create this dynamic dashboard. It shows the number of violations per hour, the number of violations over time by camera, as well as a violation distance report. And through the management then implementing changes, and that could be something as simple as shift patterns or the way people are moving around a facility, they were able to see a reduction in the number of violations of social distancing breaches. And social distancing, as we all know, is very important. Yeah, if a lot of people are together for a long period of time without wearing face masks, we've seen countries tipping back into lockdown as a result of it. So it is an important criteria in the battle against COVID-19. We're also able to show different types of reports. So in this report, using the same tools within our application, we were able to show violation distance, violations in the last hour, and then violations over time. In this example, this is to sort of demonstrate the scalability of the platform. This is a very busy train station in the UK, in London, and we're able to show the number of people coming in and exiting, a certain area within the train station, the occupancy in terms of occupancy gauge, if you're only allowed 50% of the normal volume of people, how close are you to achieving that? Where you have a heat map or a heat spot, this could be Starbucks, everybody collecting their coffees, and also the distribution of the people across the train station. So at a transportation hub, which this particular station is, we're able to provide the supervisors and the railway operators with a holistic view of what is happening very accurately. This is a case study from a retailer in the UK that has petrol forecourt stations, petrol filling stations rather, attached to the supermarket. At the onset of COVID-19, they wanted staff to be in the store to meet with the demand of lots of people coming in for more food and other products and produce. And so we were able to take existing cameras, analyze the video with the VMS, raise alarms and alerts. The remote monitoring center could then validate those alarms and alerts and follow their standard operating procedure to carry out functions like turning the petrol pumps off, actually being able to talk to customers on the forecourt using a PA system. And these are examples of criteria that we're able to provide the operators, the operator in this case, the end user. So the petrol station pump does not work unless there's a vehicle, and you put your credit card in for, let's say, a pre-amount of petrol. So in this case, this individual decides to come in, no vehicle, anybody looking, takes the petrol pump. As soon as they take the petrol pump, it triggers an alarm because there's a person without a vehicle. The pump is not activated because no money has been charged to a card. And as there's no vehicle, nothing would happen. But this is actually illegal because petrol, as we all know, is a highly flammable substance. And so this is actually a crime. We're also able to detect fire, in this case smoke, and vehicles waiting a long time at the petrol pumps. And all of this was related and driven by COVID-19, by the end user wanting to use AI and video and analytics to be able to change their working environment so that staff could look after more customers in the store. I hope you found that of interest, and I look forward to answering any questions.
Can I have a quick question?
Go, Raman.
Certainly.
Thank you, Chris.
We have two Chris, so I'm saying Chris from UK.
Yes.
Chris from Singapore.
I was the India director for University of Westminster in India. We have a lot of potential and business opportunities for you in India. I'd like to send you a mail separately and discuss both in the smart cities and the many other big opportunities for you. I'd like to connect with you and then connect you with the customers in India, and we'll discuss
Thank you very much.
Chris, I mentioned you guys have got a presence in India anyway, as well.
We do have a couple of partners in India. We're very well connected through the British High Commission and the Department for International Trade. We also are members of the British Aviation Group and have been involved in a couple of visits to India. So I'm very familiar with the Indian economy and conducting business there. But I would certainly welcome a discussion with you and look forward to receiving your email.
Great.
Thank you.
Rocky, we're going to hand over to you now as well, and then we'll have a bit of a discussion about both of the tech's sort of presentations as well. I've got a couple of questions on things like network requirements and the like on the speed of this. Rocky, I'm going to hand over to you, and here it comes now.
Yep. Will you be able to see my screen now?
Yeah, just go to full presentation. That's the way.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you, Chris, for having me here. And I would like to talk about, spend some time on contactless biometric device. Just to give you a brief who we are. A bit more than 3 years ago, in 2017, Safran Morpho and Aperture Technologies merged and became Idemia. And with the legacy of the two companies over many decades, we are serving and trusted by many bank, financial institutions, mobile operators, border control, which is immigration, police force, as well as government for secure document, and enterprises, which I'm going to spend most of the time for on the biometric access control. In my business unit, we offer a complete portfolio for biometric devices, but today we are only spending time on these two contactless devices, a 4-finger contactless device and a facial recognition device. Morpho Wave is a device that scans 4 fingerprints and verify in less than a second through an easy and fully touchless hand wave movement, just like the photo you see. You just wave your hand, either direction, right hand or left hand. Even 1 finger is enough. The speed allows to have a high throughput up to 50 users per minute, which no longer be the bottleneck of biometric identification or verification no longer be the bottleneck for access or the throughput. Despite the speed, it offers high accuracy because unlike the usual fingerprint readers that capture or verify 1 fingerprint, it actually verifies 4 fingerprints. It's a great user convenience. Basically, you can replace it with whatever reader that you have on the wall that you're using. So it's very easy and immediate adoption. And because of the full touchless, actually it's more hygienic. The device captures and verifies the 4 fingerprints in 3D actually, instead of a contact fingerprint that is more like a 2D image. It is actually a 3D image that helps to attack or against the spoofing attempts with fake fingers. And it's efficient with the wet, dry, or dirty, damaged fingerprints. Some people may have very thin fingerprints, naturally. And with the AI power, the device will be able to recognize those people. And on the YouTube, you can find many scenario in oil industry, people put on dirt, lotion, etc. And because you're not touching the sensor, those kind of material or dirt will not be transferred to the device. So the device can remain clean. And it's efficient up to 100K users in 1-to-N mode. It comes in standard 20K users, but we can expand it to 40K or 100K through licensing. And meaning with 1 finger wave inside the device, it will start matching out of the 800K fingerprints in less than 1 second, which is usually the 100K users is enough for airport, etc. It's compatible with most of the access card technology, ProsCard, iClass, MyFair, Desfire. And the device can also scan print the QR code, which comes in handy when it's for visitor management. And because of the IP65 rating, it is good for indoor or outdoor installations. It's powered by PoE+. It has weekend output OSDP onboard relay, as well as temper switch, which if the device was removed from the installation, based on the configuration that you set, you can ring, you can have a siren, you can send a message to the security manager, or you can erase all the data in the database, in the device. I'm sorry. And the device also provide multi-factor authentication. It can support fingerprint only, card only, or PIN code only, or the combination of three or all of them. And with the 4.3 inches touchscreen display on the top of the device, the end user can customize it with a video or with a photo, or provide a user guidance, or allowing the user to input the user ID or PIN code. It's actually plug and play. We have actually integrated with most of the turnstiles and speed gate vendors in the world. Like you can easily find them in Australia today. The Morphowave Compact also comes with a dozen of accessories. I'm not going to show all of them, but this is one of them. A tower or pedestal, depends how you call it. Comes in two color, gray and black finish. It's useful when the user does not want it to have to mount it on the wall or to stack it with the gate. So the tower or the pedestal comes in very useful. The next one is a visor, which is a protection cap against heavy rain and sun rays. We have field tested in very tough conditions, and several use cases are using the visor in the scene.
Rocky, I take that that tower is hardwired, right? You can't move that around.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
This one is a strong fixture on the back and solid mounting plate. It's very difficult to remove, and we expect underneath you can actually use screw hole to fix the plate. It's very difficult to remove. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Thank you for mentioning. Okay, the second part, which is the last part of my presentation today, will be the Vision Pass, our ultimate facial recognition device. We launched it in March of this year, so it's still quite new. Just before I jump into the device, just want to tell you, as Idemia, as a company, we have more than 40 years experience of biometric and facial recognition in particular. We have been doing this in the forensic and the silver identity world. We have do this in the border control, and this is the photo actually captured in the Changi Airport in Singapore, that we use it for passenger access. And the 3D face reader.
French company, is that right? It's a French company?
Yes, we are a French company, French-based company, correct.
Cool.
And this is the 3D face reader, which launched 12 years ago, roughly. And unlike other players, we don't have new model coming out every month or every quarter, every year. We tend to have a hardware that can last for a decade, and allowing the end user not to removing the device and put on a new one, but still have the benefit of the latest technology that we continue to invest in the algorithm, as well as the feature that the customer end user can enjoy through the firmware update. Okay, the Vision Pass device has a very face capture system, quite unique. The first camera is an infrared camera for biometric performance in high and low lighting condition, meaning if the device is facing the sunlight, usually a facial recognition would not be able to identify the person, but with the infrared camera, there would not be any issue. And even in a complete dot environment, unlike instead of flashing, giving you a flash on your face, the infrared camera will also be able to identify the user in a complete dot environment. Of course, the visible light camera, which we benefit from the accuracy of our latest algorithm, and we have this experience of the 40 years experience with the visible light camera. And the last but not least, it will be the 3D sensor for anti-spoofing and as well as the improved biometric performance. And it also allowed the device to detect the distance between the user and the device, which is very useful to know who is actually should be accessed, should be granted access, who is not, when there's some other users lining up behind another person.
Rahman?
One small quick question.
Yes.
I was traveling recently by air in India, and everybody at the airport is with a face mask, and in the aircraft itself, we have got a shield. How does this system, which you have with a face recognition system, overcome when the faces are covered with the mask? You only see the eyes of.
Yes, we are because of the current COVID situation. We are working on the device the firmware to support, first of all, mask detection. So if the user is recognized but is not wearing a mask, of course the device is not good.
No, my question was in case
access. But when it comes to the mask wearing, yeah.
No, my question is, if it's
using wearing a mask, correct?
If I'm using the mask, how does the facial recognition system identify me if I'm a criminal? My face is covered, only my eyes.
We're not actually. We are. Yes, because only your eye is captured. So I know in the market many players say they can do this, but actually it's a sacrifice of the accuracy.
Okay,
we don't plan to do this.
On the fingerprinting, we have seen movies around the world, even in Bollywood and Hollywood. If I have to commit a crime in a banking system, where I am using the gloves with Rocky's fingerprints in the gloves, will the system detect whether it is a skin or it is a plastic cover on my hand?
The 3D camera capture the fingerprint differently, so it will know it's a latex. It's a latex, so it's a fingerprint detection. Correct.
It won't work. I take it.
Thank you. Over to you.
It won't. Sorry, Rocky. And just on the fingerprints, it won't accept someone wearing a glove, I'm assuming.
Can you repeat, sorry?
I'm assuming it won't accept anyone wearing a glove or gloves. Even if it's just looking at hand geometry, it still won't accept the latex.
Correct.
Right.
And back to the mask tech, when a user was wearing a mask in front of the vision pass, we do have algorithm that we enhance the performance, meaning that it still require a big part of the face. If you cover this part, basically only your eyes is exposed. We don't have enough information to have a high score to allow the access. So the other way to do it is to move the mask around the nose tip. That gives more information to the device, and case by case, it will potentially allow the user to access if the exposed part provides enough information.
Are you doing iris detection at all? Iris identification?
For Vision Pass, no. Vision Pass is a facial recognition device only. It's not iris.
But your company does iris detection?
For the border control. So if you recall the Changi Airport, that device can read iris.
Right. Sorry, keep going, Rocky.
Okay, thank you. And the device supports up to 40K users as of today in less than a second. We do believe with the AI is going to continue to go up eventually to a bigger number. And the benefit of this is easy to enroll and easy to use and hygienic. It's not you don't touch it. Eliminate the privacy issue related to fingerprint, etc. It's all in one device. I'm not going to spend too much time. It's basically the same as multi-wave compact. We have the wean output, etc., the temper. The only difference is because of the power of this device, the PoE plus is not enough to drive the device. So we need a power input. And same as multi-wave compact, it will work with cards. So you can have a combination of multi-authentication, card plus face or face plus PIN code, etc. The big touchscreen also allow the end user to customize it with video, etc. And it allows the user to put in user ID, PIN code, or clock for time and attendance case. The Vision Pulse has a very large capture volume. It captures in almost like an oval shape with almost 20 inches high and 40 inches width. If you install the device of 45 inches from the ground, and with the angle provided by the back cover of the device, it will be able to cover most of the population between 4 feet 7 inches to 6 feet 6 inches high. So you don't have, this is another view. The vertical angle will will cover the population even for employees with a wheelchair base. The horizontal angle also cope with faces that you don't need to stand exactly in front of the device. So I'm sure you probably have experience with facial recognition device that you have to dance around, the device to make sure you are in the right position before the device can recognize you or identify you. We divided this area into camera area, biometric area, where the guidance may be initiated, and we match the user. It enters intention area. So again, it's a wide angle capture. Of course, we do have the feature for user to turn it on for guidance, user guidance with an icon or camera live preview. In our experience, we don't need that because of the wide angle capture. Usually, the user will be recognized before they need to adjust the face. We support various types of facial changes. You can, with a proper enrollment, after the first time proper enrollment, with as clear face as possible. After that, when you access the device with different glasses, with different haircut, hair color, makeup, even a different skin color after you have a suntan, enjoying your weekend on the beach, wearing a head cap, helmet, headphones, with beard or shaved it won't matter. The device will still be able to recognize you, and it supports potentially up to aging for 20 years. It works with all skin tone globally, with the algorithm trained. The last will be the video to wrap the whole presentation up. Thank you.
So look, thank you very much for that, Chris Bishop with Ipsotek, and also Rocky Chow with Idemia. Rocky's disappeared.
Yep.
You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I beg your pardon. What type of onboarding is required for the MorphoWave? How quick is the onboarding for that as well, or do proper fingerprints need to be taken?
For enrollment for the fingerprint device?
Yes.
You only need to wave, depends on your setting. We do recommend for both hands. So the user has to wave the hands 3 times for each hand for enrollment. So 6 waves.
Okay. And
which takes you less than 20 seconds, I would say.
And is the system itself, because I'm sorry, my old policing days, we had 12 points in a fingerprint that you need to do a match. Is it doing, with the algorithm, is it going through to get the best match at the earliest opportunity? So it might first look at the geometry of the hand and then start to do one finger at a time to get that speed? Or is it doing all checks across that one hand?
You get all the, we have a score, right? We have the score of all 4 fingers. Because sometimes if you don't wave it properly, you probably miss your pinky. The 3 fingers is fine. We still match all 3 fingers. And
Right.
if one of the finger reached the threshold, the SS will be granted.
Yeah. And obviously when you got 100,000 people, the chances of a sort of false read is sort of higher. So the lower the number, the lower the match rates, the higher probability. Sorry, sound like a delay there. And also cleaning. I imagine people still do touch it as they come through. I take it still needs to be regularly cleaned.
Today they still use contact. Yes, correct. Because of the current situation, some of them remove the contact. Because all our readers has all our fingerprint device reader, even for contact, we do have a card reader. So some cases, since in some of my customer, because of the current situation, they disable the biometric part and rely on the card part as well as potentially the PIN code.
Yeah.
So this is why some of the customers are asking if they are planning to switch to contactless, because they don't want to lose the safety or security of relying on card only. Fair
enough too. And obviously, and back to Chris as well, with the social distancing analytics, what type of network bandwidth is required? Because you're getting a lot of information there. You sort of, I don't know, how about this for a question? What's the minimum resolution that camera needs to be operating at in order to get the full analytics at the other end?
So as we're a server-based application, existing CCTV footage will be coming into your storage system, your video management system. So we can either take a feed from the camera or from the video management system. So the increase in bandwidth, because we're taking existing footage, existing streams, is probably not that significant, depending on where you connect to the device. Minimum would be 1.5 to 2 megabits per second is what we're looking for in order to be able to identify reliably objects within a field of view.
And you need your own stream. You can't work on a sort of a live stream. You need to, so it needs to be multicast. You have to come in and have your own stream. You can't work on recorded footage.
We can work on recorded footage. We can analyze recorded video. That's something we can do. But in the environments that we've been talking about, in the warehouse, in the smart city, you're typically looking for real-time analytics. So you're looking for footage. And most cameras provide you with 1, 2, 3 streams, yes, at different resolutions. Or we can connect directly to the video management system.
So technically then, the police, if they were sort of in Australia or anywhere, doing an investigation and want to prosecute an establishment that has not been following COVID, they could seize the CCTV footage and then run your analytics over the top of it to prove that they have or haven't been following guidelines. Is that a realistic scenario?
That is a potential scenario, yes, because we can use our investigation tools to analyze video footage, and video can be live or it can be recorded.
Very interesting. Okay, I like it. And yeah, so there's no real impact on the network itself, but in terms of that feed. So the analytics is run at the server end, so it can be sitting on any CCTV system.
It can sit on pretty much any CCTV system that provides an IP stream, an RTSP stream of 1.5 to 2 megabits per second. We analyze that stream, and what you saw in the video clip is an example of the types of information that we can create and then relay and then portray within the dashboards.
Right. Dr. Vasudeva?
Yes, I have got one question for him. You see, have you got such a system put on your airports to detect the suspicious movement of the guy? Can I detect by the system? If I put on the airport the number of cameras, I will be able to detect the suspicious movement of the person.
So one of the challenges with behavioral analytics, when people say, "Can you detect the suspicious person?" is the definition of the word suspicion. So sometimes we're asked, can you detect people fighting? And again, it's the same definition that is the challenge. If I came up to you, Dr. Vasudeva, and said, "Hello, how are you?" and gave you a big hug, a camera that's trained to say, he's touched that person, they're fighting, when in actual fact, I'm a student that hasn't seen you for many years. And analytic systems, regardless of what people say, cannot understand what's in the human mind and what the human actions are. They might be able to think they can give you an indication, but to give you a definitive answer is very, very difficult, unless you have a very expensive computer.
Okay. And Chris, Ipsotek, sorry, Doctor, you're in video analytics anyway. Is this an additional module that you license out now? Is that the business model?
The business model for what I've shown you today is with our standard VI Suite AI software.
Okay, so it's coming standard now, is it?
It's standard. It's built into our platform. So if you buy a camera channel, we supply our software on a per camera channel license basis. You're able to do the social distancing that I've shown you and create those types of reports.
Nice. And Rocky, just quickly on the business model, we try and touch on the different business models. I take it, as you mentioned, with the MorphoWave, it's based on users, 40,000, 60,000, 100,000. Is that the same with the Vision Pass as well? It's based on the license for the number of users?
For today, MorphoWave Compact comes in 20K user default. You can upgrade to 40K or 100K. Vision Pass today comes in also 20K in default. We can only allow, we can upgrade to 40K users as of today. But we believe in the near future, we will have bigger, we can support more users for Vision Pass as well.
And I take it the integration, Rocky, with your systems to CCTV, is there any limitations on, you've talked about your sort of the door hardware and the like, but in terms of other security management systems, I see you're integrated there with Gallagher and the likes. I take it you're integrated with Honeywell, Siemens and the like?
Yeah, we do have the integration with making use of the biometric part. I would say the facial recognition when it comes to CCTV integration. But as of today, of course, most of our devices hardware use case is linked to the access control world. While my other business unit may tackle that area, that I can come back to you.
Fair enough. So, thank you. There's a slight lag in your feed, unfortunately, as well. So look, on that note, I'd like to thank our panel. Very interesting. We ran, I'll put a link in the show notes. We ran something similar, I think around about May, where we looked at COVID-19 technology, and we'll link that to these two together as well. But it's been very interesting. Thank you to Rocky Chow there in Hong Kong APAC Head of Sales for Biometric Devices business line for Idemia, and looking at the MorphoWave and the Vision Pass. And for Chris Bishop, they're in Singapore, Director APAC Sales and Marketing for the, I'll call it Artificial Intelligence Video Analytics, Ipsotek, and looking at how AI-based video analytics solutions aid with social distancing. Chris and Rocky, thank you very much for joining us today. Appreciate your time. Dr. Vasadeva, very much appreciate your time. I'm just going to do one close. I'm trying to think what the next slide is. This is our sort of closing slide. Raman, I think I'll hand over to you for any closing comments. Episode 10, we've actually gone for the audience 18 weeks in a row, week to week, following our India's Reach series. So it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you, panelists. If I have my way, I would like to have both the panelists come together and give me a unified solution, because I need both your solutions together in one machine. So I request, don't worry about the investment, I'll make the investment, but I need both of you for a customer. I was listening to both of you, I said, why should I buy two purchase orders? I would like to place one order, and I want a unified solution, both from Rocky as well as from Bishop. So just think it over, because we have some applications in India. I know of some immediate opportunity where I need both of you together, and the opportunity is at Bangalore at Aero India show starting in February 2021, where the large audience from all over the world will be landing. I need the facial recognition, I need the COVID control, business has to move on, COVID will continue. So I need both of you together. Just think it over. I'd like to chat with you separately on this. Coming to Dr. Vasudeva's point on the waste to wealth, sir, just to inform you that we already are doing it. We have done it with Government of Punjab. We are producing the industrial gas, methane gas, with the agriculture waste, and close to the place where I'm living, 40 kilometers from the Delhi airport, we already have a experimental plant going on, and it is producing a lot of wealth. You do the break even in next 10 months time with small investment. I'll share details with you. And definitely we need clean technologies for the entire humanity also. Luckily, COVID has given us so much of clean air in India. I have never seen such a bright sunshine, and I'm worried that I should not get skin cancer like in Australia, because air is so clean, oxygen is so pure. We need some kind of impurity also to filter the hot sun. Today we are in the month of October. We never had such high temperatures because there is no pollution at all. Sometimes pollution becomes a blessing in disguise. With that note, thank you very much, and then we'd like to know more about this. And I'll hand over to Chris from Australia. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Raman. Chris and Rocky are both sales guys, so they'll take the order. No problems about that. They don't have to think about it. So, look, thank you so much. As normal, this episode is, I forgot to change these end of slides. This episode is available on My Security TV. I'll do an edited version for us for tomorrow and our newsletters. We will be back next week with My Security TV, retitled the Tech and Sec Weekly. But thank you to our panel. Thank you, Dr. Vasadeva, for your support. And thank you to my co-host, Raman Sapuri in Delhi. Thank you. We'll sign off now. Enjoy your day.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Bye-bye.